Hello and welcome to another colony submission video. This is number 8 in our series. Today supplied by a viewer named Goodmage. And this one's really cool because this is Emberpelts on the Helix Mountain map, a map we have played several times in the old and the new configuration, this of course being the new one. But I really like what's gone on here. I'm going to hit pause real quick and we're going to go into dev mode so I can unlock the camera. Turn fog off so that makes it a little bit easier to see stuff. But I really like this map, just fundamentally as a player, because there's so many different things you can do with it that make it basically impossible to have the same playthrough twice. It's a huge map, you got the central water source, you got all these other things to interact with, but I really like what's happened here for a variety of reasons. One, we have tiered tree farms, we have tiered food farms, and then we also have another set of these things over here, and there's been a really good bad tide diversion system. I'm going to put the submission form up on the screen real quick just so you can see what they said about it. But there's a lot more here than meets the eye. Like, you might take a look at this huge map and say, okay, well, they haven't really built too much. But that's where you'd be wrong, because if we go ahead and we go all the way down to the very bottom of the map, go up 1 level, go up 2 levels, you see this? We got a beaver subway with the Emberpelts tubeways, and this connects all of the major areas of the map. You can see it as being very heavily utilized. So these guys don't have to go all over the place. They've got a very good, robust transportation system to get them between areas. So if we keep going up layer by layer, you can see as the other stuff starts coming in, we have all of our power over here. We'll take a look at all the different areas. But I really like how this is laid out. And again, it looks pretty simple at first glance, but as you continue scrolling up through the layers, you can see how stuff is kind of built to take advantage of the terrain the map has to offer. So you might have seen something. We're going to take a look at this real quick a little bit closer. But you come over here to the lodging areas, and one of the cool things about the Emberpelts faction is the lodging here, if the buildings are touching, they can all share doorways. So you can create some pretty cool looking stuff, and you can do stuff like this too, where you just have these long rows of, well, the mod calls them tenement lodges. Let's go ahead, oh, hello, upside down. Thank you, autosave. We go ahead and scroll down here. You can see that underneath that, there's this secondary, well, I don't know if this is secondary, it's just an additional layer of tenement lodges. And yes, they are connected with the tubeways up to another small tubeway station here. And it's all completely underground, and there's also a bunch of food storage over here. You got that layer of those guys, and it's all completely hidden inside the mountain. And you wouldn't know it just by looking. You just see all these beavers go into these tunnels here. But there's the entire housing complex down there. You got this one up here. And again, everything is connected very nicely with these tubeways. So you can see them just go back and forth between all these different things, and especially on the layers where you can see them activate everything. It's just really well done. So this user also goes on to say that they think they can support about 1,000 beavers on this, and I'd believe them. Just taking a look at how stuff has been set up. Obviously, you'd want to have a little bit more storage for food and water at that size, but they got a pretty robust setup for industrial food processing. So let's go ahead and take a couple looks at these things here. We already talked about this being a vertical farm. They've got a little bit of a different pattern on the pillars than we're using on our diorama playthrough, but that's fine. They got tons of room here. They can do whatever they want. And these are, of course, the default tubeway stations. They're not using mods. They just have, you know, just Emberpelts. And then I think the scripting pack, which might be a requirement. So, of course, you know, I've been using the small tubeway station mod because I think it's really cool, but this is what you can do with what's included in the base game, which I think is really cool. Just goes straight up the way here, right there, so you don't have to have paths going absolutely everywhere. You just take advantage of your tubeway stuff. You have all your different crops. These are 2-block high things right here, even though some of these crops don't need that. It's just nice to have it uniform so you can fit the small tubeway stations and the farmhouses in place. And then, of course, we have this thing here with all of the water wheels. You'll notice this is actually snaking back and forth several times. I remember specifically from the older Skystorm videos, this is a very popular thing to do, to get a whole bunch of HP out of not a lot of flowing water. And you take a look at where this is coming from. This is all just badwater from this one source right here. It just comes through here, and all of this generates an impressive 4,600 HP in conjunction with everything else going on here. So there's a whole bunch of grist mills. We've got a whole bunch of presses. We've got our, what I will affectionately refer to as the rainbow of juice over here, and water at the end. And then just, I don't know, I like this playthrough. I like this mod so much, just because there's so much different creativity you can get into with the Emberpelts. But I digress. We've still got plenty to look at. Like, they've gone all over the map. Cut down a whole bunch of trees. There's obviously still some left, but I mean, at some point, basically every part of this map has been visited. We'll get through the rest of the night here so we can see a little bit better. But then you have the tree areas over here. Obviously, these have to have a higher area between different layers, but we've got plenty of oaks, and then at the top, we got maples, and it looks like there's a bad tide coming in, so we're going to get to see this diversion happen in real time, which is cool. And, you know, triple speed with 621 beavers, I'm still getting a relatively healthy 38, 39 FPS. If I put it on single time speed, then of course the frame rate jumps way up, and now we're at like 120, 115, 120. So I'm really happy that Timberborn has improved in that regard, because it used to be really bad. I think like update 1, update 2 time. And I had 200 beavers chugging along at a measly 15 FPS. But I digress. Like I said, we've got all these different food farms, and they have the similar irrigation thing going to what we had been using on our diorama playthrough, with just the 3x3 up in the top, right in the middle here. And then if we go back over to this guy, same deal here. Standard stuff. But what I really like about this is, like I said a little bit earlier, everything is just really organized, and it's kind of separated in a way that makes it feel like they're separate districts. But there's only one. There's just the one district for this whole map. And normally you'd have a lot of problems on a huge map like this with a whole bunch of beavers, but honestly it seems like everything is running pretty well. We've got beavers spread out in different spots, able to, you know, live closer to where they work thanks to those mods that we were talking about, but everything's just really good. And look at this, we've got a 55 well-being, which, you know, isn't perfect, but forgive me for having the frog statue mod installed. This is not part of the playthrough. This is just because I had it installed. That's why it shows up with the 0. But everything, even if it's not maxed out, is represented. And most things are being taken care of very well. Keep in mind we're on 16-hour work days, so stuff like campfires, contemplation spots, so on and so forth, are not going to be showing up super great. Just because we have so many beavers working. We've got maybe a little bit more than half of them currently. But, I mean, there's plenty of storage. There's different things spread out all over the map. And there's a bunch of different disconnected power grids. Excuse the autosave there. But everything that is set up in a way that's going to be successful here. Like, nothing is underpowered, at least that I was able to see before hitting record. It's kind of hard to see, you know, in the middle of the night because everybody, you know, goes home, goes to bed. But it's all set up really nicely. And this is the middle of the map right here. This is where all the sources are if you're not familiar with how the Helix Mountain map works. But all of these different sources here in about 2 days' time are going to be spewing forth the nasty water. So we'll get to see this switch over, and then all of this just come right the way off the side here, safely away from all of the clean water that we're storing in the middle. But even up here, we've got some maples that are being used to make syrup, and we've got, of course, oaks for wood. But it's divided very nicely. We're protected. Thank you, autosave. With the contamination barriers, everything should be a-okay. Like, if you've ever played Helix Mountain, you know it takes a really, really long time for any water to get all the way around the spiral here. And to a certain extent, it's been planned for as well. You take a look at this kind of, well, it's not man-made because the humans are all gone and the beavers have inherited the earth. But you get what I'm saying. This is going to be a really good way to just automatically, well, we'd have to trigger it, but automatically get some clean water down here in the bottom before you have to wait like 2 days for it to come through here. Because this just feeds right off of the flow. As soon as this gets contaminated, if it ever does get contaminated, which it shouldn't, but this can just get blocked off. And this right here, like I said, is manually operated. But should we need water, we can just let it out, and then it will refill all on its own because this is just automated. And, of course, sluices are one way only. So I thought that was a neat thing. And then let's see, what else? This particular farmhouse, I believe, is set to harvest only, or it was when I loaded up the save. Oh, also Easter eggs in the Emberpelts mod now. Specific, I guess, important people in the Timberborn community, mod creators and a couple of video makers as well, do have their own special beavers. So I thought it would be kind of fun to take a look at the roster here and see what kind of names we could recognize. They'll have kind of funky colors off to the side. Yeah, Battery Smooth. We all know Battery Smooth. I think I might be in here too, but I haven't. I don't see one here. But I know I saw a pond there. Oh, there's two of them. Back to back. All right. But it's just fun to see all the different stuff in each of these mods as we go through these playthroughs. I really wanted to do an Emberpelts one because we had such a great time with that series. Yeah, there's Taubert. We all know Taubert. I'd like to do another playthrough, another Battery Smooth again, as we get a little bit further along in our other ones. So I'm really grateful that this was submitted because I was really hoping we'd have an Emberpelts one to take a look at. But going back a little bit earlier, let's scroll down to some of our lower levels because, like, the way that this is all divided up here, like, this is all completely separate. It doesn't look like it, but it is, and it's kind of smartly done too because we have all of these sluices here. Again, they shouldn't be contaminated, whatever, but they are isolated in the event that something does happen. And this is all just completely separate, and it flows in between all of these different things, keeping things nicely organized. Just a lot of different carefully done stages of irrigation here. So one thing cannot get entirely pumped out if you have pumps running on this. There are no pumps in most of these except right here you have two. So you can keep some for irrigation, keep some for pumping, and this will continually fill from upstream, but it can't take anything from down here because of how this is set up. And these specifically are the flat top double floodgates. That's something that is not present in any of the other factions, but is here. I love this highway here, the Beaver Subway. And of course, if you're going to, do the whole rest of the map and have the entire thing colonized, then it's very easy to come in here through the tubeways and just expand to another corner, keep everything all situated here. But now we're just about to the bad tide bit here, and I want to see this happen in real time. Of course, these are automated by contamination stuff. I always do 1%, and some people say that that's way too low. I should put it at like between 2 and 5. But you see here, these are set to 2. Don't think that is going to be an issue, but I really like this. And it's a lot easier to do this now versus when we were last playing this, which I believe was update 5. That sounds about right with the folktales. Because back then, you didn't have the overhangs. You didn't have the ability to have water even exist on a different plane than the ground. It was just one sheet across the entire map. So a structure like this wasn't possible. You had to get really big. Yeah, but here comes all of that nasty red sludge. And it's coming right out this side, slowly getting more and more red. We should see this just harmlessly come all the way across. Man, if you would have told me, I know this is not new, we've been playing with this for quite a while at this point, but if you would have told me in September of 2021, when I played this game for the first time, that this would have been possible, and also a super common thing that people do, I would have thought you were nuts, just because the game has come such a long way in that period of time. But everything just like harmlessly spills off here. We don't have anything in the way of getting infected or whatever. And then, of course, this does drain down slowly. But you'll note that there are dams every so often. And this is kind of similar to what I did when we played this a long time ago. But it does kind of keep it segmented to the point where it doesn't have to take a super, super long time to get all of the water everywhere. Like if you were, for example, to pump from up here, then you'd still have some. This keeps the trees irrigated without a separate irrigation chamber. You get the idea. Just really, really good design. And we do have this here. So I think that just about covers everything that I wanted to showcase from this. Again, just a really good, solid Emberpelts playthrough. And like the submission said, they're not done. They could easily take this to 1,000. I think they would have a tremendous amount of success with it. So if you have an Emberpelts playthrough you'd like to show off, please do submit. The link is in the description. And I do take a look at all of these. This one was submitted about a month ago as of the publishing of this video, but I am always wanting to see more of these submitted, especially Emberpelts, or if you have a really, really unique thing that you think people might want to see. So again, thanks very much, Goodmage, for submitting this. I really appreciate it. And this has kind of inspired me to get back into Emberpelts a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see what happens for future playthroughs. But that's going to do it for this one. I really appreciate you guys watching these. They've become very hotly demanded. And people have been saying, hey, you should do a whole lot more of these. And I'm trying. I'm going to try to do at least 2 a week for the time being until the schedule needs to change again. So like I said, please do continue submitting those, and I'll pick my favorites and show them to you guys. But of course, can't do a video without thanking the Beard Boosters for their support, which makes it possible to do stuff like this. Take a break from the quote-unquote regularly scheduled programming. And, you know, have a little bit of fun taking a look at community submissions, seeing different ideas for playing the game and building colonies in ways that I probably wouldn't consider or wouldn't have thought. Like on a huge map like this, I would have never thought to stack stuff for the farms. But it's a cool mechanic that we can do now, and this is a great opportunity to do that when you have a faction like the Emberpelts that have so many opportunities to keep themselves alive without just having to pump a whole bunch of water everywhere. Because, of course, they can drink all of the different juices. But I digress. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you back again tomorrow for another colony submission. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.